Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The Secretary General and Prime Minister will say a few words and then take some questions.
Prime Minister Zoran Zaev, welcome to the NATO headquarters. It's a great honor and great pleasure to have you here. And we have just finished a good meeting where we have addressed our partnership and how we work together. We spoke just after you took office, and I want to also today use this opportunity to congratulate you again on your appointment as Prime Minister. NATO welcomes the formation of a new government following months of political crisis in your country. NATO and the rest of the international community were shocked by the violence at the parliament in Skopje in April. Real progress has been made since then. I continue to encourage all parties to put their divisions aside, to engage constructively in the political process, and to work in the interest of all people in your country. So, Prime Minister, you and I have just discussed the importance of reforms. Good governance, the rule of law, strengthening the multi-ethnic society, and good neighborly relations are all essential. Further progress in these areas will benefit all your citizens. It will also advance your country's Euro-Atlantic aspirations. NATO and the European Union speak with one voice on these issues. NATO has invested in the security and the stability of the Western Balkans for more than 2 decades. And the region has made significant progress since the 1990s. We want to see your country as part of a stable, democratic, and prosperous region. Last week, Montenegro became the 29th member of the alliance. This shows that NATO's door remains open. We continue to support your nation on the path towards eventual membership of the alliance. As with all aspirant countries, it is important to remain focused on the reform agenda and to ensure political stability. There may be hurdles to overcome, but it can be done over time. So, Prime Minister, your country is already an important partner. For years, your troops have served in Afghanistan. NATO values this continued contribution to our research support mission. It is a clear sign of your country's commitment to international security. So, Prime Minister Zaev, thank you once again. I look forward to working with you, and once again, welcome to the NATO headquarters. The floor is yours, please.
Dear representatives of the international community, allow me to present my pleasure for the acceptance in the NATO headquarters from the General Secretary of the NATO. I would like to say gratitude for the support from NATO, even the NATO liaison office in Skopje, the close cooperation, and I also give an invitation for the General Secretary to visit Macedonia. We congratulate the membership of Montenegro. This is a great encouragement for us. We hope for a short time will be the next good news coming from NATO. It's also important for the Western Balkans to be secure and stable. Good relationship with the neighbors are exceptionally important. We are dedicated to improve our cooperation with our neighbors and to ensure closer international cooperation. We are a good NATO partner. We participate in all the missions of NATO. We've been in ISAF with the 4th country per capita with our contributions, and in the future we will be on the mutual side with NATO. The violent extremism and the radicalism are mutual challenges, and we undertake every measure we can give even greater support if we are members of NATO. Republic of Macedonia exists a strong political support from all parties and ethnical groups, as well as a strong support from the public, from the society for the membership of NATO. Now, we are also dedicated to strengthen our military and security capacities to achieve the standards of NATO. But all we have done till now, it's not enough for a full membership. We see an additional obstacle for this membership. Although this is not fair, we're still dedicated to improve our neighborly relations, to strengthen dialogue and the measures for good relationship. I expect the membership for NATO to be reality for a short time coming. We are also dedicated for domestic reforms and the European Union. We participate for the European Union. We like to have a social cohesion. We're open for cooperation with everybody and our future with everybody else. As Macedonia, as a Republic of Macedonia, for a democratic party, for the European and the NATO alliance and family, international family.
Secretary General, a question for you. You mentioned that Macedonia has quite a bit of reforms to deliver. So my question is, if Macedonia delivers these reforms, as you said, NATO speaks in one voice. Will it speak in one voice if Macedonia does its deal, and if it breaks down all the reforms needed, and if there is some kind of relaxation in the good neighborly relations between Macedonia and Greece especially? Is there a possibility for somehow modification of the communique from Bucharest?
I was present at the summit in Bucharest back in 2008, where we made a decision that we are committed to the accession of the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia to the alliance, but where we also stated clearly that what we need to be able to follow up and to extend an invitation is that there is a solution to the name issue, a mutually acceptable solution to the name issue has to be reached within a UN framework. And that is still the position of the alliance. We have reiterated that position at our summits following the Bucharest summit in 2008. And we did so also at the summit in Warsaw in 2016 last year. So that's still the NATO position. At the same time, I'd also like to underline that we welcome the very clear message from the new government that they will now intensify the dialogue with Greece to try to find a mutually acceptable solution within a UN framework. And also the very clear and strong message from the new government on reforms, on the importance of the rule of law, of a multi-ethnic society, of good neighborly relationships, and also the very strong political support to a stronger partnership with NATO. What we have seen is that NATO's door is open. A few days ago, we welcomed Montenegro as the 29th member of the alliance. And I think that it's hard to find any stronger proof of the fact that our door is open to countries that meet the NATO standards, which implement reform, and in this case also where we have to see a mutually acceptable solution to the name issue within the NATO framework.
Hi, thank you to both of you. Mr. Prime Minister, there's been some confusion about the chronology of your plan to start your membership negotiations here at NATO. Will you try to enter under another name? I mean, are you planning to use Upper Macedonia, FYROM? Can you start talks this way, and then will you put it to a referendum with your people? So could you just kind of lay out for us clearly the tick-tock of how you plan to go forward? And Mr. Secretary General, we have tended to believe that the name crisis was the only obstacle in recent years, but you've mentioned reforms. What are the other barriers that could prevent Macedonia from joining quickly, and how big a factor is Russian meddling in this? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Truly, this all this year, this block process for the integration of the Republic of Macedonia in NATO, we have studied all. I hope the whole region that standing in one place just causes crisis. As I said, we will try on all possible measures to move Macedonia towards its full membership in NATO. I expect support from the citizens of Greece through their government and their opposition in solving this problem. There are still alternatives here. We hope that with this temporary, with a freedom reference, we can become a member of NATO, but then we can continue the discussions with Greece regarding our integration process in the European Union. As till now, in the experience with Montenegro, even with the temporary reference, we can receive an invitation from NATO according to all the agreements with Greece. And during the ratification process of all the 29 member states of NATO, we can still have 2 years in advance to find a solution. All possible alternatives are, in effect, can be put in place. And this mostly depends on our southern neighbor. We will be just a reason more to find more positive solutions for the stability of the region. And this is all possible if Macedonia becomes a full member of NATO.
A mutually acceptable solution to the name issue is explicitly mentioned in the communique from the Warsaw Summit. But we also underline the importance of reform, and that's exactly why I welcome the very strong commitment of the new government to reform, rule of law, fighting corruption, strong democratic institutions. When it comes to foreign meddling or interference in the political processes, I will say that any outside interference in domestic political processes is unacceptable, and the best response and the best way to strengthen the resilience against foreign interference or foreign meddling in political processes is to build strong democratic institutions, is to modernize your government, your political institutions, and to implement reforms. So again, reform is the best way to move towards Euro-Atlantic integration, and reform is also the best way to strengthen resilience against interference from outside.
Please, Telma TV.
From Telma Television, for the General Secretary, I would like to take you back to the procedures. You spoke about the significance of the Western Balkans for the stability. If the acceptance of Macedonia, if we put this in this context, and all the new geopolitical surroundings in this region, especially with the infliction of the greater Russian interference, the question is still outside these procedures, having in mind all the procedures and the conclusion from Bucharest, is there any door for acceptance of Macedonia by the temporary reference?
Well, what we have stated clearly at every summit since 2008 is that we need a mutually acceptable solution within the NATO framework. So we are not explicit on what kind of solution. The important thing is that it has to be mutually acceptable, and as long as it's something which is accepted by Greece and of course by the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, then we can start to move. But it's not for me to dictate or to specify exactly what kind of solution, as long as it is a mutually acceptable solution within a UN framework. Let me add that NATO really understands the importance of this region, of the Western Balkans. NATO has helped end 2 ethnic wars in the Western Balkans. We have a long history in the Western Balkans. We have worked closely with Skopje in addressing the instability in the region. We have a liaison office in Skopje. We are very grateful for the contributions to our missions and operations, not least to our presence in Afghanistan. And we are proving, or we proved just some few days ago, that NATO's door is open for countries in the Western Balkans by inviting or by accepting Montenegro as our 29th member.
Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.